Is verse 1, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. If I can get some water, serve the Lord with gladness, come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that has made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. So it tells you how to come to church. It says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Not this having the sense of entitlement that this generation has, but being thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. That last clause of that last verse says that his truth endureth to all generations. So I want to talk just for a few moments tonight about truth in my time. Truth in my time. I believe as never before there is a battle that is going on in society, in the world today. And this battle that is going on is more significant and more powerful and more intense even than the battle that's going on right now in Iraq and in Afghanistan. This battle is more intense and more significant than the battle that's going on in the Middle East between the Hamas, the Palestinians, and the people of Israel. One of my friends that was in the military said before 9/11, America was in 52 conflicts before 9/11 even came. And that's not to mention the things that are going on in the Sudan and Darfur, the things that are going on all around the world in Bosnia that have taken place in Germany, and the looming threats of Iran and South and North Korea. But there's a battle that's going on in our nation, in our country, in our culture, and this generation. That's something that will affect everybody if we don't take heed for it. And that is the battle for truth. Everybody say truth. That is the battle for truth. The battle for truth, and that as we look at the Bible, we see that the last day church, in the last day church, the last days would be signified by this battle for truth. In Matthew 24:4, when Jesus is asked, what shall be the sign of your coming? What's going to be the things that we should look forward to say that Jesus is about to come back? And it's going to get a little bit more youthful in a second. But what shall be the things that shall say Jesus that the end of the world is going to come? The first thing out of his mouth was, be careful, take heed that no man deceive you. And he goes on for the next couple of verses talking about the nature of the deception that will be going on in the world in the last days. In verse 12, he says that there shall be many false prophets that shall arise and deceive many. And in verse 24, he says there shall arise false Christs, that false prophets that would do great signs and wonders. And he said that these things would be so great that they would deceive the very elect. They would deceive the saints that are called of God, if it were possible. So the nature of these last days would be deception. Lies would be the order of the day. What can we tell them, they will say, to get more money, to get more fame? What can I tell these people so I can tell them and fool them and get more money in my bank account, so I can get more clout? What can I tell them to trick them? I don't care what it may destroy their lives, but I need to trick them. So this will be the order of the day, and these people will not have a few followers. It says, and many shall follow them. I know this is a youth convention, but we're going to talk a little bit in a minute, because we need to understand the things that are going on in the world, and all these things that are going on that affect truth in the world end up filtering down to our children. These people would have mega gatherings. They would have big followings. They wouldn't just be somewhere off in a corner, but many would follow them. And he says even they would do miracles. They would do signs and wonders, and you would see them on TV, and you know how we do. If it's on TV, it must be true what they're saying. So what would tell us whether or not who we're following is the right person wouldn't be the size of the crowd. It would be their success. Because you know what people, we translate that to say, well, God must be in it because they're successful. But it wouldn't be success that would determine whether or not a thing was what that of God, but it would be what is being said. It would be what? And see, a lot of times our young people, when they're talking about music, they say, I don't listen to the beat, I don't listen to the words, I just listen to the beats and I just listen to the music. But you have to pay attention to what's being said. And the preachers and teachers that we see on TV, we have to pay attention to what is said to make sure that what is said is lining up with truth. So that even if you have you have many people following you, I'm listening to what you're saying. I believe it's the word of God that should determine what our plans are, even in ministering to young people. I'm not going to get my agenda for my youth program, the youth program at our church. I'm not going to turn to BET, MTV, Nickelodeon to find out what I should be doing with young people. See, because I know that many of you are here because your youth leaders brought you here, but we don't want to turn to these things. We don't want to, it's like going to the devil to find out how to get people free from him. He's not going to tell you. So I don't go to the world to find out from the world what I should be doing to reach young people. But all I need to go is to go to the word of truth. All I need to turn to, I don't need to turn to Bible magazine. I don't need to turn to XL magazine. I don't need to turn to Source. I need to turn to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and my friend John. It's going to get better in a second. But we're doing our young people a disservice when we don't, and our children, not just our youth in our churches, but our youth at home, we're doing them a disservice when we don't teach them truth. We do them a disservice when we can have our youth explosions and our youth rallies and step teams and choirs and mimes, and all these things are wonderful in their place. But if you have all of that and don't give them truth, what are they going to fight the devil with in this world that they're engulfed in of lies, deception, and tricks? When they go to school and the school is telling them that God didn't create the heaven and the earth, that you came from a monkey. Now I know some of us might look close to a monkey, but that don't necessarily mean you evolved from monkeys. Amen. He's saying that, you know, that with that truth, if we don't give our young people truth, what are we going to, what's going to help them when they're in the classroom and the teacher is reading that book that tells them that Johnny has 2 dads, that Johnny has 2 mamas? If we don't give them truth, what are we going to do when they're watching TV and they see our friend That's So Raven, and that's their favorite show, and they look at it every day, and they don't get and they don't understand that they should participate and be a psychic like Raven is. Oh yeah, I know little Raven Simone. I know she was cute in the Cosby Show days, but Raven portrays herself to be a psychic now, somebody who operates in familiar spirits. If we don't give our young people truth, what are they going to do when they go to college and people, or when they're in high school, middle school, and people tell them that the Bible is just a bunch of stories written by a bunch of old men or 2,000 years ago, and we don't give them truth? Because they live in a world where Paul said they have changed the truth of God into a lie. That for their own lust, for their own advancement, they have changed what the truth of God says and changed it into a lie so they can do the things they want to do. We define truth as what is true, what is real, and what is right. What is true, what is real, and what is right. In Isaiah 59, 3 and 4, God was speaking to him and telling him about the lies and the perverseness and the sin of the culture of Israel at the time. And with all these things going on that were prevalent in the culture and society in the world, he says that in verse 4 of Isaiah 59, that there is none that calls for justice and none that pleadeth for truth. When you turn on TV, do you hear somebody pleading for truth? When you go to youth conferences and youth conventions, and as a youth pastor, we go visit some and we go minister at some, but very rarely will you hear the preacher, when he's preaching to young people, give them truth. And when you do, the only thing that's going to save our young people is truth. The only thing that's going to deliver them from some of the things that they're facing today in the world is truth. And what we've got to do, we've got to love our young people enough to tell them the truth. I cannot want to hurt your feelings and let you jump off of this cliff and walk off of this cliff blindfolded because I'm scared I'm going to hurt your arm and snatching your back. No, I've got to be willing to hurt your arm if it means it's going to save your life. I've got to be willing to, because I love you, young man, because I love you, young girl, because your church loves you, because your pastor loves you, because your parents love you, to tell you the truth. We have to tell them the truth about hip-hop music. Yeah, we have to tell them the truth. And I know sometimes parents, we need to be careful because what we